Welcome, fellow armchair generals. This is, of course, Gamer 1745 here with something a little different than I've been doing much recently. We're going to be playing, of course, Hearts of Iron 3's Black Ice 11.2.1, I think, technically, though I don't know if I'm going to keep replaying or going down specific on it, but this is the first and how to set up and how to get going episode here. So I hope this episode I will earn your subscription if you haven't already, and of course a like button if you're interested. And so, okay, right up front, there's no point in me making a series that nobody wants to watch. So I've been requested by a lot of different people to play a lot of different nations. And hello, Slim, how you doing over there on YouTube? Good to have you here. And like one of the recent ones, was Turkey and I think Romania. Well, the truth is, the smaller nations just don't necessarily get a big audience. So I'm hoping that this will get a good audience. If there's a good audience, we'll play all the way through to a logical conclusion of an American victory in World War II. So saying that is the reason for you to watch the video, to hit the like button if you're interested in this. Share the video, make comments. The more comments below, it helps all feed the algorithm to get the series going good. And I do think there is an audience for it, hopefully with interesting commentary. So we're going to be playing America, Franklin Delano Roosevelt's country. Now, also, this is with the latest version of Black Ice. As of making this, we'll get to the O in a minute. And the mods of my mods of the California Pictures mod, you can see some, well, not just a generic one, but some either period or actually some of these are still generic, but Barstow Radio Tower from not the period. I didn't do every single. Santa Monica from the period. Santa Barbara. You can see that's like Big Sur, Carmel versus Castle from the period. So that mod, Foreign Aid and Air Bases mini mod is another mini mod I have out there, and I just created, actually less than 4 hours or 5 hours ago, a mini mod of taking the handful of events from TRE into that are related to America specifically, and creating a mini mod out of it. I thought about playing with TRE involved in this, but it would have to be back at 11.1 version, and it is set up so that the AI can handle Germany, but I'm still worried that it's not that good for the AI. I mean, it's doable, but it's not recommended. So, well, hello, Toto Hell One. Yes, Merry Christmas. Either past or future or whatever. So I don't say don't use Third Reich events while playing another country, but it's made for the idea of a German player. So we're just playing this more or less with just those little minor changes to base game. Okay, so what we're going to do is, this should have strategic resource trading at some point. We're going to disable help for 1 year, and we're going to do the Black Ice start. We're just going to play everything on normal. I just had the thought, maybe not. Okay, how to set this up. Getting started. I don't like this. It's a cool idea, but I don't like this. Was just going to do everything on normal, but that's what I do that as a baseline for testing my mods. I have played on harder difficulties. I forget which one of the big German series was on, like everything on hard, not on the hardest level, but one down from the hardest level. Okay. Now, okay. Let's okay. Minor nations difficulties. Allied minors. We're gonna go normal. Axis AI minors. We're gonna go hard. And just other minors. We're gonna go normal. We're gonna go on hard Germany. It might be a good challenge, and I've been just because I hadn't even thought about this before starting right now with this episode about doing anything other than normal, just because that's my normal habits. It's not that I like, unwilling to go even harder, but I don't know what Arno and Total Hell and others would say that are here live, but we have hard Germany. If we go normal Soviets, I'm worried about, okay, the Germans overrun it and it'll be harder to. I want something somewhat realistic. I don't want everything too hard. So we will do hard Soviets just to give Germany a real opponent in the East. We will do hard Italy. Japanese and Chinese. Chinese will do normal. We will do hard Japan. That way, if I did hard and China, if China survives, I know some people have complained about, this mod is unrealistic, blah 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 blah. Yeah, the AI for Hearts of Iron 3 will be entirely focused on China, and if it doesn't defeat China, it'll make decisions that are production oriented towards fighting China. And one of two things: either if you force it, as the mod does, to then attack the Allies, it'll be entirely unprepared to attack. First the British and then later the sort of simultaneously for the British, but taking out by events to get Indochina and whatnot. But in America, they'll be entirely unprepared for it, and so they'll have all their armies stuck in here. And even if you script in a few invasions, it's just makes it too easy. So it's coded so that China loses. Because the other way, if you don't force Japan into the war, then you just have a sort of a private Japanese-Chinese war, and that's unhistorical, and so they're trying to do history here. So we are going to do that. Okay. So Right. Let's see what else we want to do here. Supplies for Bank of International Settlements. Right. We're going to do short-term economic first year here. We're going to do political spying as well this year. We'll activate the Willys Jeep. Now the Willys Jeep, I'm activating it now just because it's here, and I want to clear this stuff out. And forgive me if you're new here. I like to talk about the history around what is going on here. There, it only comes about, and I don't know if they talk about this, is after the war starts. I believe it's after the war starts, but the Willys is the designer, the design company. Most were made by Ford and others, GMC, and it was designed and shown to the government in less than like 30 days. It's like an incredibly short time, and they get them into production super fast. So compared to other design projects that go through, these just go, this is just here, simple, basic little sort of combat car. And then they make, just huge, like 50,000 exported to the U.S.A. Willys produced 300. Now I don't know how much of this is Willys versus like GMC and Ford. Some, because there is a Ford vehicle, but huge amounts. So I don't know about the numbers. Not saying they're wrong. I just don't know. We're gonna wait for the mixed support brigades. Okay. Why am I not seeing any? Oh, we did the economic. Now we're going to. No, we're going to go down to 0. On upgrades, we're going to. Let's get this down small. That is going to go to there, and I think we'll do extra supplies. I did sort of play a little bit of this, not a full month even before starting this, just to make sure that we sort of kind of got things going well. Let's go pretty low on officers because our army is super small and we're not doing any growth really in it at all now. Diplomacy, I don't think we need much diplomacy. No. Yeah, we'll do that. Espionage, well, let's do a little bit more than what we're doing with some of the other stuff, but let's go down espionage. Okay, so that gives us approximately 50 research points. So let's just get everything in 1936 rocking and rolling. Or before. Look, there's a 35. Okay, we'll do electro welding. Now, folks, as you probably know, I've never, I did, turn this on before, and it's not saying I haven't turned this mod on before, or played as, turned America on, but I never played a game as America. I am sort of looking forward to it. And why, you may ask, haven't I played a game before as America? Well, it's quite simple. Through much of my life, and maybe even back to elementary school, but definitely by the time I'm in high school, I've sort of had played in my head when I ever had, a boring moment sitting around waiting for something. What could you do differently in World War II to win World War II, particularly as Germany, as an intellectual exercise? Not that I wanted them to win or anything like that, but what could be done different? Could it be done? Well, what's the intellectual exercise of How could America win the war? Oh well, we could just do what they did. So not, and we're gonna maybe do some things differently here for sure, but very much we know how America can win. So we don't have a challenge on winning or losing for America. I want to get some of this. Get carriers, because if we're going to build carriers, we might as well get them researched up early on. We could do the light carriers. Hangar. Well, we're not going to do those fighter focuses yet. Capital ships. Another capital ship menu here. Most these are beyond the date that we're okay. Propulsion. Hey, thanks for following. Do appreciate that. Hello, Iron Fury. How you doing today? And so, it just I'm very interested in America and the war, but it's just not been the uh, sort of driving interest. Might buy Victoria too. Well, if it's on sale, yeah. I've not played a lot of Victoria 2, but it's a very interesting time period. I mean, I played a bunch of various Paradox games, and I'm sure Victoria 2 is a good one. Okay, we got 33, so what do we want to do first? Well, we definitely want to do the things that take a long time to build, like capital ships, carriers, and that type of thing. So we're doing that now. What was that? Reserve? No, do that. I think. Light cruiser armor thickness. Do we want to upgrade? I guess. We'll do the damage control sort of later. Let's do vertical protection. Gets us to 37. We've already got the submarine sort of worked out. Let's start on the path of better fighters. Get that going. Oh, naval bombers. We like naval bombers. Now, I was thinking, oh, we want to do garrison redeployment capabilities, that's for sure. Is it cheating to reinforce the Philippines a lot and try to hold it out? The U.S., in my opinion, could have, prior to the start of the war, reinforced the Philippines enough to defend it. I think the Philippines produces enough food. I don't remember reading or seeing any documentaries of starvation or hunger, dealing with Japanese occupation of the Philippines. So I think locally they're producing enough food. Great, great, good to hear. We do folding wings. The Victorian era is, of course, quite interesting. Let's do controllable pitch and that. Okay, so that gets all of our research done. Let's have our puppet, which is just industrial focus, which is just the Philippines, I believe. We will do army focus. Hopefully they will focus on the army. Yeah, they did reinforce. I mean, they sent. Unfortunately, it was, from my reading, shall we say, ill prepared, including they didn't even have access to some of the ammunition that was sent down there. They sent some Stuart tanks, the light tanks, down to the Philippines, and they, partially because of they didn't have some of the better ammunition, that I think was in a warehouse somewhere that they just didn't get, and some other problems. The tanks didn't do so well against the Japanese, and Japanese can't, recovered all of the ones that were there, and it got a few, two or three at least, operating for a while in in the Philippines as sort of for local use. Okay, so let's 1, 2, 3. Let the clock go. Annual national focus thing. Right. Okay. Yes. Waiting for these things to appear. Here. Okay. Um, these are now different here, I do believe, than before. Or ground forces, air forces. I used to hover over to see what it is, but we're going to do general economy. We're going to go historical. So to me, um, the only nation that I know that is doing, by this definition, light aircraft would be Japan. The Zeros and other models of aircraft, um, generally their fighters did not and their bombers did not have any armor, did not have self-sealing fuel tanks. That's sort of the big definition between, in this game, the idea of heavy and light aircraft. You could have done self-sealing fuel tanks for the Zeros and other fighters. I'm sure it probably would have added a little bit to the weight, because basically it's just a rubber lining with the idea that the bullet passes through the fuel tank, maybe in and out, and it either seals up or mostly seals up so that it's hardly leaking. Now, the armor, that would not have been doable and keep the characteristics of something like a Zero. The, what is it? A6M or whatever designation. So it's really only that. So it comes down to, so it's heavy aircraft, and the Americans really went for cast armor, and gasoline engines for their tanks. And we'll do that. And as it says in here, which I read just a little while ago, and I think the hangars would be considered closed hangars, so special treatment steel and closed hangars. Hello, Ari. $2 for Hoi 3. Yeah, now make sure, Iron Fury, if you're going to get Hoi 3, get the, and it's best played with black ice. Well, not too many people were watching my Hoi 4 series, Ari. It was sort of, viewership was dying badly. So, that's why I've sort of switched over to this. But we'll see. We may be back on that. Okay, you bought Hoi 3. But also, if you're, and I think it's best with black ice. And you'll make sure that you have the Semper Fi, for the Motherland, and the third main DLC, their Finest Hour. You need those 3 DLCs. You don't need any of the other DLCs. You just need those 3 DLCs, and then it'll work with Black Ice. And I would recommend it highly. Yes, we're going to sell resources like crazy to anybody who wants it, basically. Budget reserves, we need to be careful from now on because I haven't disabled this. Okay, 14-inch M1920 railway gun. Okay, so railgun was last large caliber railway gun to be deployed by the U.S. Army. It was upgraded. It was an upgrade of the 14-inch 50 caliber Okay, we'll do that. Aim for defense. Okay, we will get some divisions. We'll reorganize the war ministry. No, I hate these. Scripted invasions. Yes, go for that. Okay, Japan. Yeah, we would give them fuel for money. Okay, for the moment we will. Okay, well, we now, because of things changed a little bit, have a little more research available. Probably go away shortly, but we might as well use it while we can. Okay, well, these are actually fairly up to date. Ship raiders, well, we can do air superiority tactics, interception tactics. There we go. Yep, they're cheap. Yes, hello. Sorry, I missed it before. Malvigil and Extreme Finger is here, so yeah. Let's get this continue going. Don't worry, we'll pick up speed once we get through all these opening day moves. Okay, battle commanders, U.S. manpower. Prolong the neutrality pact, yeah. Yes. Okay, yeah, that's where we're going to be for the moment. Now, let's put a few factories. I would say that there would be at this time some industry out here in California. Don't know why there isn't. Particularly, there was an aircraft industry going on. The Spirit of St. Louis, the um, first aircraft to fly across the Atlantic, was made out in California. Uh, no, no, come on. There we go. Right about there. Yep, new campaign. Playing as America. First time. First time playing as America. That's your powerhouse, so that way I don't have to live in a third world country. Ah, well, we don't want to change history that much. Do you want easy strategic reading? Normal. We're going to do normal. London Naval Treaty, economic photo. Okay, yes. What's just changed? Oh, they push us up there. Okay. Yes, we need to just. Oh, what? We can build heavy industry. We can build heavy industry. Yeah, I'm going to cancel that because we don't cancel. We just want to do regular industry here. That's a change. Yeah, cancel that. Move these to the top. Produce. We can produce heavy industry. That really seems to be something of a change. Don't know. It seems to because I've not played America before, and I definitely can't. As of the last few versions, this is when we used to have industry in America. Yeah, yeah. You go through that once, Iron Fury. Go in and change, lower the music volume. That's the first thing you want to do is lower the music volume. I actually, in setting this up, I did it. I just turned my whole audio down because I get sick of listening to the Wagner stuff. So up to the top, we're building heavy industry where we can build. And I'm going to put. There we go. There we go. Yes, we'll do revolts. I don't know how many revolts America's going to face. Okay, you can have crude oil. At least as a start, I'm planning on accepting all, even future access nations trade proposals. That thing that we're at up there. See that money through that. And so in 1936, America is in a bad, bad way. It is facing its worst depression. Um, okay. Oh, I forgot to move one of the files over, so the text isn't here. Damn, I'll have to move that over. Um, okay. I wish I moved one of the files over. Shoot, one of the localization file didn't get moved over. Damn. Okay. This is, I'm going to have to do this from memory. This is from Third Reich events. Okay. The U.S., going back to even before the War of 1812, has had a coastal fort program. The coastal fortifications, excuse me, basically setting up to protect harbors from enemy attacks. So I know you guys probably don't want. What kind of America are you going to play? More or less historical until the war starts, and then we're going to try to make better decisions. I guess. I mean, not trying to change it to something different. This isn't Hoi 4 where you get to like, oh, go fascist or other weird crap. Where you bomb Japan below the sea level, that kind of thing, yes. You can pick your own country. Just pick you can pick on the map. On the starting map there, you can pick whatever country you want to pick. Just click the there's the suggestions of the flags, but you can just click on your map Iron Fury to get the country you want to play. Okay, so they've had a coastal fortifications. Just a quick history lesson. The Star Spangled Banner, the poem that eventually becomes the national anthem, was the author was prisoner on board a British ship while they were bombarding Fort McHenry during the War of 1812. The Civil War starts in South Carolina which is down here in Charleston, where they bombard Fort Sumter. So they've had this long period of coastal fortifications. Well, during the 19th century, the latter part of the 19th century, and that's where this gun sort of comes from that you see here. There's the Endicott guns that are built and put all along the coast, on the east and the west coast. And just sort of interesting with this is you can tell this is sort of pre-air power because there's no real wolves on any of this here. The very heavy concrete with then lots of earth in front of this, and then they'd have earth up behind it. So if you looked at this position from the sea, all you would see is grass and then grass behind it, basically. Almost that's it. This whole gun and all this stuff is all below the level of the walls. And then when you aim the gun at the ship, you get it aimed through telescopic type sights, and then you get it ready to, and then it gets ready to fire. It comes up over the edge. This is just fired. You can sort of see the smoke behind it. And then as it fires, it goes boom, and the recoil brings the gun back down. These are called disappearing guns. So you can't see the gun except for just moments before it fires, and then it goes back into cover. And these were all done by the Coastal Artillery, which was a branch of the U.S. Army. and these are the Endicott guns. Now, starting in the 1930s or late 1920s, before then, there's the earlier London Naval Treaty of one or other versions that caps the amount of capital ships. Well, the Navy had already built a bunch of guns that it was planning to replace post World War I better battleships. Well, the treaty sort of put an end to that plan. So the Navy had these big guns. Well, they would turn them over to the Army, the coastal artillery, as the Army was building modern fortifications. These were not disappearing guns. These were guns in, big concrete casemates, set up to be able to be protected from bombs being dropped on them. The guns were all, the barrels, which is the hard part to make, were already made. I already had huge amounts of ammo for them. So they're turning them over. Well, I found this to be very interesting, and I did research. So I added all of these coastal forts here, as you can see. These were all pre-existing before 1936. They continue increasing, using these old naval guns, and when they get ready to build the new ships that we're seeing here, like this Yorktown. These are all heavy, but we'll see some battleships that come later on, I guess. They're bigger guns, so they don't even want the old guns. So they continue installing these guns and other minor fortifications, at least into the first third of World War II of active combat, until they sort of decide, well, we're probably not going to need them any. No one's going to be attacking us. And the coastal artillery is dismantled after World War II, the whole organization of it. Just with nuclear weapons, it's just decided, we don't need coastal artillery anymore. So these all should be on the map at the start. And just for this mod, which I do want to go put it back in, I added Manila. Because there is, so now Manila here has coastal forts up to 4, and it has pillboxes and fortresses at level 2, because there's the island of Corregidor, which is itself is a smallish island, but it's highly fortified. And then it has Fort Drum, which I don't know and I wish I could easily pop up a picture of it here. Yes. Malvigil. Yeah, I normally have been playing Hoi 4 Black Ice. No, I haven't been playing. I've been playing World of Blaze. I'm waiting for Hoi 4 Black Ice to come out for the latest DLC. I was looking at that last night at their Discord server, and it looks like they still haven't come out with the newest version of Black Ice. And that's what I want to play. So I'm waiting for that to come out. I would have been playing that today had it been out yet. For no step back in the railways and all of that. Yes, Arno, it is Fort Drum is the sort of concrete battleship. It is 2 battleship turrets. I think they're just two guns in each turret on a pre-existing rock island, but they sort of carve away part of the rock island and then pour a bunch of concrete on it. And at least one of the turrets fully has a 360-degree fire arc once you tear down, and they actually did tear down all the rest of the buildings that, sort of lightweight buildings they built on top of it for normal peacetime use. And so that's huge naval guns that were able to, and they fought on and died in their emplacements, because the Japanese finally stormed and got a hold of the thing. And it's still there to this day. They use the guns, shooting landward and not just shooting seaward. Where like those Endicott guns, they just have a fire arc. If you're coming behind them, they do nothing to protect them, and you can't turn and point them anywhere. Yeah, you need to like a lot of Hoi 4 DLCs to make Hoi 4 fun. Yeah, you sort of do. Okay, rare materials. Yes, you may have rare materials. So yeah, so we now have in essence Fort Drum with both. You don't want to do a landing here. from the sea, and it's somewhat fortified. So we don't have the sort of Bataan Peninsula kind of bit here uprising. Where are we having? Why are we having all of these uprisings? Okay, I don't see. We don't want to send Abyssinia. No. What is our revolt risk here? Why are we having such high revolt risk? This does not seem appropriate. There was virtually no revolt risk in 1936 in America. Gold mining, okay, we're going to get money. And so, yeah, like I was saying, America is in a very bad way. They have the Great Depression. Multiple reasons for the Depression. They also have the Dust Bowl going on. And the government, in its attempts to help people during the Depression, does everything they can do to make the Depression worse, and everything they can do to make the Depression endless. And there was zero, and I'm sure if we continue playing this, I'll get a little more facts and figures. Yes, you can have oil. There was no real exit plan for the Depression. America was just, and the Roosevelt regime was just firmly doing everything they can to just make that Depression worse and worse and worse, and there was no exit strategy. What saves America is, of course, World War II and selling armaments to the Europeans so they could go kill each other. So yeah, that is what starts to get America out of the Depression. And then America's entry into the war really sort of does. Okay, well, sort of waiting for other things to happen, but we'll pick these. Huge, massive amounts of people out of work. Many of those who are at work are working for government programs. Like Ari was saying, that we should industrialize Tennessee. Well, the one thing they do, why are we having these uprisings? We have yet to get, I guess, sort of what Germany has with appease them and whatnot. I don't know. They'll just come this way. Or just, yes, Panama can have all the metal they want. The Tennessee Valley Authority was one of the major programs during this period, in which, not just in Tennessee, but also, because it is sort of the Tennessee Valley here, in which they, yeah, I don't know why we're facing all of these uprisings. These just seem, yeah, there are, but most of the problems that happen are more in the 20s, I think. I don't know. I wouldn't go that any. I mean, there was no uprisings like this. There were some protests. There was the bonus army, which comes in and occupies D.C. and as sort of a protest encampment kind of thing. basically a lot of men out of work, former soldiers, not armed or anything like that, not doing any damage to anything, just coming in and literally pitching tents, basically, and being homeless in DC. Probably sort of like it is now, anyways, but just sort of. Okay, I don't know why we're facing. Oh, okay, here we. Um, yeah, we're not going to do any resource trading now. 6 months. Okay, well, we'll do this now just because I want to get rid of this so I see the other things pop up when they do mixed support brigades. Okay. For the United States, mixed support. What are we going to do for mixed support to be sort of historical? Now, this will be for the non motorized mixed support. So, infantry tank, no. Okay. Let's start with engineers. That's not a bad one. Anti-tank, that's decent. Anti-air, though we may just end up winning the air. And yeah, we could do artillery. It's sort of all basic stuff, but yeah, done. Okay. Yes, you can have crude. Yes, you can have crude. Yes, you can have energy. Hopefully, we have plenty of crude. Yes, we do have plenty of crude. No, we're not going to do that. Okay, we can reduce that. And we'll get into production of things, or industry soon, I think, there. Oh, yeah, I don't get. Let's send that strategically to there, get it there in time. Well, before it does it auto, let's just make a save here. Okay, surge of volunteers. That. Not at war. Okay, artillery specialization. Yeah, just regular artillery. Tough for Japan. Yes, let's make Japan extra tough. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Budget limitations. Yes. Yes. Okay, this is sort of what I've been, I guess, waiting. We want to appease them, get rid of national revolt risk. There we go. Japan, we would give them fuel. Yes, you can have fuel. Um, that should change our revolt risk down to, huh? Still this bad? Wow. Chaplin's Modern Times. Modern Times is a 1936 comedy written and directed by Charlie Chaplin, in which his iconic little tramp character struggles to survive. In the modern industrialized world, you can see that there he is in the machine cog trying to adjust things. Really complicated shoot that they did for that without what we would think of as special effects. The film is a comment on desperate employment and fiscal conditions many people faced during the Great Depression, conditions created, in Chaplin's view, by the inefficiencies of modern industrialization. No, that's not why they happened. Chaplin began preparing the film in 1934 as his first talkie and went as far as writing the dialogue script and experimenting with some sounds. However, he soon abandoned these attempts and reverted to silent format with synchronized sound effects. The dialogue experiments confirmed his long-standing conviction that the universal appeal of the tramp was lost if his character ever spoke on screen. Very true. I've watched only a little bit of various tramp things. It's been so long since I've seen a Modern Times. I mean, 30 plus years. Okay. So we'll get consumer goods during peacetime, daily descent. Okay. Hopefully that will help us out here a bit. Oh, consumer goods. Well, yeah, there we go. I don't think we need that much. We're going to do extra production there, but I don't know why this is still so bad. I like those. You've probably been watching. I have just not played the U.S. before. And I don't know why, particularly with Black Ice, they think it should be this way. Okay, Liberia. Yes. We give them money for exchange for supplies. No, decline. We're not going to buy supplies. Yes, you can have energy. Gold mining. Okay, lots of money coming in. At some point during the Great Depression, they made it illegal to own gold bullion. You had to turn all of your gold bullion, gold coins, whatnot, into the United States government. you could have like golden jewelry, like a wedding ring and similar stuff like that. Now that gold is often not very pure gold because pure gold is very malleable. But so just as an interesting aside, yeah, all that gold that is being mined is being so as you would mine it, you would have to then turn it over, sell it to the U.S. government for paper money. Because the government does just about every single thing they can to make the depression worse. Oh, yes, you can do that. Okay, and um, yeah, all right. Let's click here. Why are we have this? Okay, striking workers and political agitators, free press, normal player, give them cake. Civil laws, open society. Okay, I hadn't even looked here till just now. Weird draft. Um, well, let's go down to 6 months draft. The Army didn't have a draft at this point, so um, full civilian economy, massive education investment, that seems consumer products oriented, free press, that's, yeah, but don't know why free press means revolt risk. I sometimes wonder what the hell these people are thinking who make up these ideas. Why would free press equal greater revolt risk? Can anybody in chat, or if you're watching later on YouTube, post and tell me why they think free press? In fact, I would think it would be the opposite. State press, because people get tired of it. It seems to me that wouldn't be a anything that causes it. Okay, free press, consumer goods during wartime. Yeah, okay. Counter espionage. Yeah, that would be harder to do because it can get published. National unity changes. Yeah, okay. Because that might not encourage national unity. I just think that they've thrown that in there to simply be a negative penalty. So not everything is beautiful and good by choosing this or something. I don't know. I can national, because revolt isn't really like a protest movement. A revolt is, people shooting guns and blowing buildings up. And volunteer army, which is actually what it is. I don't know why we have the draft. We don't want the draft. Don't really need much troops right now. And what is Haiti offering? Okay, sure thing. Well, I think we're going to end the episode, not the live stream. All of you who are here live with me, please hang around. But thank you to everyone who is watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'm going to thank Nils, Sir Toyjet, and others for your support on Patreon. But everybody else, if you can just give this a thumbs up and post a comment, thank you so much. See you next time for even more, yes, more Hearts of